Hi everyone, Justin here, and thanks for joining me for another chapter in Road Choice Clutch Technical Training. This program deals with the why, when, and how of clutch adjustment. In the next few minutes, I'll be sharing some valuable tips that'll assure smooth, effortless shifting with a Road Choice clutch. So let's get started. The reason the clutch needs to be adjusted is to compensate for wear, and that wear shows up on the friction material, flywheel, center plate, and clutch pressure plate. This wear changes the optimal release bearing position. Keeping a clutch in the correct adjustment ensures proper release and maintains plate load and torque carrying capability. Since we're compensating for wear, the question is, when should a clutch be adjusted? Well, here's the answer. A clutch needs to be adjusted before the complete loss of free travel. So the trick is not to wait too long. If the clutch isn't adjusted before complete loss of free travel, the clutch will become partially released, which will cause slipping, premature wear, and failure. And then you'll have a whole different set of problems to deal with. Now that we know the why and the when, let's see how to adjust a clutch. If it's one of our self-adjust clutches, there's no manual adjustment necessary. These clutches really live up to their name. For our manual adjust clutches, it's still pretty easy. First, make the adjuster accessible through the inspection window of the bell housing. Then press the pedal down to release the pressure from the pressure plate and adjusting ring. That way, the adjusting ring is free to turn. Next, determine if it's standard pedal or easy pedal. If the clutch is standard pedal, remove the locking tab, install the adjusting tool, and adjust as needed. For easy pedal, most easy adjusters use a 5/8" socket or a wrench to adjust. Now, some adjusters need to be unlocked or pressed in before turning the adjusting ring. The Road Choice Easy Adjuster uses a patented self-locking single motion mechanism that requires no pressing or unlocking. Simply adjust as needed. The final step for a manual adjust clutch is to verify the adjustment. There should be a distance of 1/2" to 5/8" between the release bearing and clutch cover, and a distance of 1/2" to 9/16" between the release bearing and the clutch brake. Note that if the distance between the release bearing and clutch cover is correct, and the distance between the release bearing and the clutch brake is too large, do not adjust the clutch. Install a fiber spacer or an oversized clutch brake instead. Our goal is to make these adjustments before there's a loss of free travel. So let me show you how to check for that. First, verify the distance between the fork and the release bearing is an 1/8". If this dimension is not correct, don't adjust it using the clutch adjuster. In this case, the linkage system will need to be adjusted in some fashion. To verify clutch brake squeeze, insert a 0.010" feeler gauge between the clutch brake and the release bearing. When you press the clutch pedal down, the feeler gauge should be tightly clamped. In the event the brake is not being squeezed, do not change the 1/2" to 9/16" gap for the clutch brake or the 1/8" clearance for the bearing housing. Instead, consult the vehicle manufacturer's service manual. The clutch brake will be squeezed if the total pedal stroke slightly exceeds the movement required to move the fork, the 5/8" to 11/16". The 11/16" dimension is the combined total of the 1/8" dimension between the fork and the 1/2" to 9/16" dimension between the release bearing and clutch brake. To optimize brake squeeze, slowly let up on the pedal and check the pedal position at the moment the 0.010" feeler gauge can be removed. If the pedal is less than 1/2" or more than 1" from the floor when the gauge can be removed, readjust the linkage. Well, that's it for this chapter. I hope you'll explore the other chapters in this clutch technical training series to make sure your clutch knowledge is up to date. You'll find all the parts information you need at roadchoice.com, and you can always contact us directly with questions about what you've learned here. This is Justin with Road Choice Truck Parts, and I'll see you next time.